All right. So one big issue is the attack matrix. And this is an attempt, this is a really important thing. At first, I was horrified by it and repelled because it was too complicated. You go to the attack matrix, there are 11 or 14 tactics or techniques. These are techniques and tactics. I think these are the tactics and these are the techniques, or else I got it the wrong way. I can't remember the difference. I'm sure the military people know the difference. Anyway, the point is these are the things you do: reconnaissance, then initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, and so on. These are the accomplishments of an attacker invading your network. And at the end on the right, it will be execution of the payload. And somehow I have to scroll horizontally. Here it is. Okay. And so there you go. It ends with impact. And not every attack involves all these, but this is, and each one of these has many, many sub-techniques. So at first it looks baffling and confusing, but I realized my students really should know all these things. So credential access, you can brute force like we did in that Splunk project. You can have forced authentication. You can forge web credentials, steal input like the keylogger, and so on. These are all the techniques. And so what this is the beginning of making security into a science instead of an art, where we actually have categories of things and things grouped together. So here, this is the enterprise attack matrix. You've got techniques and tactics, and you also have mitigations for the enterprise here. You've got mitigations to block each of these things, like multi-factor authentication and limiting software installation. And you have groups, a list of all these different attack groups, like all the APTs, APT 1 and 12 and 16, and all the nation state attackers like the Cobalt group, and all the kittens, which are the Iranian groups, and all the different pandas, which are the Chinese groups, and bears, which are the Russian groups, like Fancy Bear should be in here. Here's Equation, that's us, the NSA. Anyway, they have rated all these groups, telling you what they do, who they are, what techniques they tend to use, and so on. So this is an important thing to know. And I made some projects where people just get to practice here, looking things up in that list. So you just have to find out what technique does this, and you have to use this attack V9 and just learn how to do it. So find out what gatekeeper bypass is for, and so on. When you get enough correct, you find a flag. So I have a whole series of those practices people can go through to learn how to learn all the tactics and techniques and the groups. All right. And there's even an object called the navigator, which is pretty fun. And what you do is it loads this thing like an Excel spreadsheet, and you can load everything about a tool or threat in one load. So here I've loaded APT 41, and it colors all the things that APT 41 does. And you can make a new layer like APT 29, and it will color all the things that that threat actor does. And you can now make a calculated layer that adds those two together, A plus B. And now you will get different colors. So one color is for one group doing it, one color is for another group doing it, and another color for both of them doing it. So you can answer a question like, what technique do they both have in common, and things like that. So those are things you can do with the attack framework. And I think all our students need to learn this. Now, commercial tools to simulate attacks and commercial defense tools are all integrating themselves with the attack matrix. And this is going to be the standard way that you rate defense systems. And there are now simulated attackers that will come in to test each of these to see if you are blocking each of them. So it's definitely a good thing for our students to be learning.